Welcome to the Expert CRE Secrets podcast, where we believe most commercial real estate brokers and luxury realtors, they struggle with clarifying their passive income options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven brokerage strategy, such as the EXP commercial model and purchasing investment real estate, is the best way for you to grow your wealth. I'm your host, Brett Swartz. In each episode, I am joined by some of the best commercial real estate brokers, realtors, agents, luxury realtors, and passive income wealth advisors in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration, so together we can make complex brokerage strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. Hey, I'm excited about our next guest. He is a vacation home expert in Orlando, Florida, and the founder of the Jerry Barker Group, LLC real estate brokerage. He's originally from Scotland, and he traveled the world before moving to Florida and setting up the Jerry Barker Group. He has assisted owners from 36 different countries in states and have purchased over $100 million in short-term rental vacation homes and properties. He prides himself in ensuring his clients are educated in the Orlando short-term rental market and that they understand everything that is involved in a successful investment prior to purchase. Please welcome to the show with me, Jerry Barker. Hey, Jerry, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Brett. Yourself?
Hey, better than I deserve. Excited to have you on. Would you give our listeners a little bit more about your background and your current focus?
Sure. Well, I'm originally from Scotland. I came here in 1989, actually came as a professional photographer. And I was fortunate enough to travel all over the world on luxury cruise ships. I ran the photo departments on board those ships. And as life would take you on its very unusual winding ways, I ended up in Central Florida. Mostly because when we started out, I actually started out on the original Disney cruise ship, Premier Cruise Lines. That's where I started off, and that kind of based us in Central Florida. And then when I finished my career on cruise ships, I ended up settling in Central Florida. And ironically, the majority of our business is because of Walt Disney and the vast amount of people that come to visit the mouse every year. So we started the real estate business. I actually been licensed since 2006 and actually founded the Jerry Barker Group in 2009. And very specific to helping our estate and international buyers purchase investment vacation home properties here in Central Florida. And we basically have to handle everything for our clients. Our clients are not here. They may come in for a short visit, but most of the work that we do in terms of the entire purchase of the property, the acquisition, and then the setup of the business and the entity and everything that goes with that, we handle all that for them. We're a very small brokerage. We only have 5 members in our team. So we're very niche, and that way we're able to really take care of people and really get down to what exactly they need and what their investment profile is.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to take one step back before we dive into some of the strategy and some of the expert secrets you've learned as being a realtor and broker there in Orlando.
Yep.
And this is the question, so I want you to go maybe back to the days in Scotland. Maybe you're a young lad, and maybe it's I don't know what the sport of choice is, or I don't know what your hobbies were. But I want you to go back to maybe the high school days or the junior high days. I believe, Jerry, we've all been given certain gifts in this life, and I believe these are God-given gifts, and these gifts are given to us to be able to be a blessing for others. So I'm curious, maybe what are those 1 or 2 gifts that maybe you believe you were given, and how does that help how you help others today?
Well, that's a great question. Interesting. I don't think I've ever been asked that before. I don't even know if I've thought about it that much. Personally, I think the gifts that I was given, and probably because how I was raised, and Scotland tends to be a very black and white place. People are very direct and very candid, and they tend to be very honest and have a lot of integrity. And I think bringing that into the real estate market, it's a very diverse group of people that are dealing in the real estate market. And I think especially for people who are not here and they rely on somebody that is here to look after their property acquisitions. I think they need to be able to rely on someone who will tell it to them straight. And I think probably over the years, the most important thing I would suggest that I've been able to do is get the confidence and tell people how it is. And I think one of the things that I've done that is pretty unique in my business is I've let a lot of buyers leave. I've said, no, this is not for you, or this investment is not for you. And I think because of that, It's really helped our reputation, because I won't sell somebody a property if I don't think it's a fit for them. And I don't think there's very many people in this business that can say that or would do that. And our reputation over the last 10 years, because let's face it, if you're 5,000 miles away and you're spending $3 million, you want to make sure the person that's looking after that $3 million is somebody you can trust. And I think that's really important. So I think growing up, going back to your initial question, that's probably one of the things that's, I think, is most important that's influenced me in my life is just honesty, integrity, and doing the right thing and helping people. And if you do it right, in the long run, it certainly works out for the best.
Absolutely. What a great answer, and what a great part of your story. And I love that cultural part you connected with being from Scotland, very direct, a lot of integrity, very straightforward. It's very black and white. It's like, hey, I would do this deal or I wouldn't do this deal. This deal makes sense or it doesn't make sense. Don't buy. I was just actually advising someone today, and he wanted me to represent him to buy a property. And I told him that I said, where do you want to buy? And he said, California. And I said, well, I'm not your agent, because I don't think you should be buying anything in California right now, because the prices are so high and there's so much capital on the sidelines. The interest rates are so low. I go, I wouldn't want to take your money to put you in there to make a commission for you to be upset a year or two from now because you overpaid. I go, look, but if you want to go out of state, you want to get into some commercial real estate syndications, mobile home parks, multifamily, maybe even like a vacation rental type of thing, somewhere it's very more friendly, perhaps to landlords, then that's a different story. And so, then he tried to twist my arm again. Not twist my arm, but he's like, really? What? But I kind of like that one deal and this. And I go, look, I'm not your person, and I'm telling you, don't do it. But that's sometimes you have to take that approach. You have to take a stand for what you would buy. And I like to tell my clients, I wouldn't put you in it if I'm not going to be willing to, potentially buy it myself, or have my dad or someone in my family. So any thoughts on that, on making sure that you're bringing value and looking out for your client in the best way?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure, 100%. The way I've always done it is that what I tell my clients, when they give me the criteria and they say, this is this, and whatever it may be, I go find what I would buy. I go say, if you give me this money, and you put a gun in my head and said, you got to buy something today with this amount or else it's all gone, then what would you buy? So when I go back to those clients and I say, these are the properties, if it were me in your shoes, then this is what I would buy. And in some cases, I would look at it and say, there's nothing right now that fits your profile. But what we can do is we can snipe, we can sit down and wait for something coming up. And if you're prepared to wait when that unique scenario comes up, then we can jump on it. And I know we're going to get into the property market and the business side of it in a few minutes, probably as we progress. But the key to what we do is unique, because it's not just a piece of property. It's not just brick and mortar. It's a lifestyle investment. It's a personal investment, because vacation homes are something that the owners themselves get to use. So it's not just a property that sits somewhere and it makes you, $50,000 a year or $100,000 a year. It's a property that sits somewhere and makes $50,000 or $100,000 or whatever it may be, and also a place you can use whenever you want. And that's really the biggest difference, is finding out exactly what suits them in an investment, but at the same time also finding out what they want in a personal place. And I think that's the part that I think we really do a great job in, because we're able to identify exactly what somebody wants, having these interview conversations. And then that way we can narrow it down to exactly what fits their profile and then get them. Sometimes I had a client recently, actually, well, not recently, it's not fair to say that, because it was 3.5 years I actually spoke to him, a fellow from Minnesota. And we just couldn't find the property he wanted. And 3.5 years later, he's ended up purchasing, he's on his third property right now. And I think he's probably invested somewhere over $4 million, and he's ready to move to the next one. And that was just a time thing. And sometimes that's it. You just got to go through the program and the process to get to where you want to go to do it right. And it's not about selling somebody and getting a commission today. It's about doing the right thing and getting them where you need to go. Because at the end of the day, I still need to feed my family next year as well as this year. So it's all about real estate is good pipeline. People who you're working with, you have in there, and you get it right for them, and then they buy more, they trust you, they bring you friends. And I think any good brokerage or a realtor understands that.
Absolutely. That's so well said. And And I like the connection there with, you can have it as a, the lifestyle and the
Yep.
investment. You can have both, right? And with short-term rentals,
Sure.
with Airbnb and the way it's structured, it can be very lucrative, as well as hey, it's a great place for you to write off that trip as you travel to like Orlando,
Absolutely.
right? And spend time in
Yep.
Florida with your family, and that's your home base. And then you're doing some real estate, you're looking at some more deals, and maybe putting an offer on something. And guess what? You get to write off that trip. You get the little bit of best of both worlds. All of the above. There's so many rewards to that. So next question would be, what's the biggest mistake maybe you've ever made, or see other brokers make when it comes to the real estate profession?
What's the biggest mistake? I think the biggest mistake goes back to what we just talked about, is not treating people right. And it's something that I hear all the time. I have situations where people come to me and they basically said, I wish I'd met you, 6 months ago or a year ago, and they maybe come in to sell the property. For our business, for the vacation homes very specifically, as opposed to residential real estate, think about it. If you're going to go on a trip to anywhere and you're going to rent a house somewhere, well, what do? You look at photographs, and you look at reputation of the house and the location and all the things that go with that. And I think one of the things that most other agents don't do a good job of is educating the clients on how to be successful. Their natural instinct, and I get it, this business is to sell a property, pick up the commission, and then move to the next square. My thought process is, you help them buy, but that's only 30% of the scenario. There's another 30% or a third that is setting the property up right so that you or your viewers want to come and stay in that property, and then setting the business aspects up for it so it'll be successful. And I really believe that most of the agents and the brokers, the biggest mistake they make, especially if they're not involved with the short-term rental, and a lot of just general residential realtors get involved in it, find a property, cut the commission check, and then that person's left holding the bag. They don't know what to do next. And I think that's the biggest mistake many of them make. Personally, they wouldn't do it, but personally, they should refer those clients to a specialist and allow them to take care of them instead of doing it themselves, because at the end of the day, they probably shoot themselves in the foot. And that's probably the biggest mistake that's made.
Yeah, very well said. I think it's aligning with them, with their financial long-term goals, not just a short, one-time transaction. You really, what I've found is the real estate profession is shifting, and for the ones that are really successful, it's more of a wealth advisor, right? It's more of a real estate advisor. Yeah, you happen to sell real estate, right? But you look at them as like a trusted source, like a financial advisor, right? But for real estate. And so that includes finding the right property management. It includes doing the right, marketing techniques. It includes, stuff like short-term rentals, finding experts in that niche like Jerry and his team, right? To execute on that strategy, and then or that lender, right? Or that the new opportunity that comes up. It's more than just the transaction. And so now let's shift that, Jerry, to the actual brokers.
Before you shift that, do you want a job? I need people that think like you.
Thank you. No, I mean, that's how I've tried to build my business as well, right? And I find the most rewarding part about what we do is the relationships we get to build, the families we get to serve, and learning their story, and then helping them achieve their long-term goals. And when we do that and take that bigger macro view, it's like you're part of the family, right? And that's what I say for my clients. Like, you're now a part of my family. It's not just a transaction. And so, but that being said, I'm curious on the brokerage side now. So shifting more to from how you serve your clients and the right way to do it, to now how we also serve our teams. And, for example, starting at Marcus and Millichap, this was years ago, selling multifamily properties. The alignment of the structure or the model was oftentimes, it felt like, stacked against the agent, because the agent short term could partner with a new agent and recruit them and train them, right? And then long term, though, they become your competition, and or they leave entirely to another brokerage, and you're like, wait, now he's over there, and I give him all my secrets, and maybe I got a couple commissions for 2 or 3 or 4 deals, whatever. But now he's gone. So how, Jerry, have you been able to? I know you mentioned you have a team that's tight knit. I think around 5. How have you been able to financially, on the brokerage side or the business side, make it a win-win long term for your team?
Yeah, I think the first thing that has to be understood is we didn't set up our brokerage as a traditional brokerage where we just bring in a bunch of agents and we're getting commissions from their sales. In fact, quite the opposite. We came from actually quite a well-known brokerage originally when I first started out before we became our own brokerage, and we had a little team within that. And we set up our brokerage not because we wanted to have more agents. We set up our brokerage because it allowed us the flexibility to do a lot of additional things that we couldn't do just as agents. And we'd moved into diversified into some other programs. And maybe that's a good topic. Luxury residential in Orlando is a topic for maybe another day, but we branched off into that. And the short answer for me is, we actually did it way back at the start. We had another agent with us and exactly the same, found out everything off and do their own thing. And we just decided we were going to keep it really small. And that way we could have a small group of clients and we could really service them and make sure that the information they got was really accurate and they were taken really good care of. And that was our reputation. So I can't talk about big agencies and how to train people and keep them and all that stuff because we haven't done it and we're not going to do it. I would imagine, and if we do expand, it's probably going to have to, just simply because of the volume that we deal with. At some point, I'm probably going to have to bring in maybe one or two more. But if I bring them in, I'm not going to bring them in as agents. I'm going to bring them in as partners. For that simple reason is because if they're that good and they're able to look after our clients the way that we do, and I say we, my wife is my partner. She's actually the broker, even though the Jerry Barker Group's my company. She's actually the boss. So my wife
hey, the wife's always the boss, Jerry. You're doing it right?
You learn that fast,
no matter what, whose name's on the front cover, your wife's the boss, right? So I tell my wife too. We have 5 kids. I'm like, hey, honey, like you have the hardest job, right? I'm out here, making podcasts, selling real estate, helping clients. I go, so you're the boss. You tell me jump, I say how high.
No, I've been domesticated as well, right? So we've all gone down that road. You fight it for a little while, and it's like, seriously, right? Happy wife, happy life, right? Yeah. And so my wife basically handles the whole selling side. She handles the listings and the selling side and the brokerage, and I handle the sales side with our small team for the people that are looking to buy. So I specialize on the buying side, and she specializes in the sales. So we're a very small brokerage, but I think we were in the top 10. Brokers in the program in the Orlando area where we do a lot of volume. We take care of our clients for our program for the vacation home sector. We're really well known here and we're pretty much left alone because we are our own little entity and we're not out stealing other people's agents or doing stuff. We just take care of people. Yeah. And
you have that niche of vacation rentals, which I want to dive into right now, right? Because even our listeners who are listening, they know about Airbnb, right? They may have heard of VRBO. But maybe give us the 1 or 2 secrets that most people just don't know as far as a broker's concerned, right? And maybe there's people in, even California, right? They could be doing this, or different vacation type of destinations. What would be the top 2 secrets, Jerry, that you would say to growing your niche focus on vacation rentals?
From which direction would you like those secrets from, and what area?
So for either the broker and or the client. So whatever you're good with. I don't want to give all your secrets away to the people listening out there in Orlando. So but maybe do it from the client. So just what would be the best secrets from there? Let's keep it like that.
I don't have any secrets. I wrote a book, and everything that I know is in my book, and I offer that not only to our clients, I also offer it to any agents and brokers in the area because I want them educated as well. But perhaps not so much secrets, but I think one of the fundamental things that we tutor our clients so that they can be better than, at the end of the day, if you have a vacation home and, we have 25,000 vacation homes in the Orlando area, actually probably considerably more than that now, you're really in competition with the house next to you and the one down the street, et cetera, et cetera. So there are a few things that we tell our clients. These are the things that, excuse me a second, it never stops. There's a few things that we tutor our clients that we feel really make a difference to allow them to compete. Number one, I would probably say a lot of owners have a lot of value in their social world that they don't know, whether it be in the social media or friends and family. The greatest thing that happens to me is when a school teacher comes to me and says, I want to buy a vacation home in Orlando, because they already have an absolute built-in audience that they can absolutely mine. Mrs. Jones' music teacher has a vacation home in Orlando, and you put that up in the school message board or what have you, and you're already, 25% occupancy right there. I think there's a lot of things that owners can do that they don't even realize they can do to really supplement what the management companies can bring to the table from their side. And the secret is the mix of the different pieces and putting them together. So you have what the owner can do and bring. And to me, that's probably the biggest X factor that we have in our industry. The number one question I get asked in every phone call is how much money will I make? What are the numbers like on, say, 1, 2, 3, 4 Smiley Street? What are the numbers, the historicals, if I bought that property? And my answer is I have no idea. And the reason I have no idea is not because I don't know how much they rent for and how many weeks and what the costs are, because I don't know the owner. And each owner is so different. And some of them are magnificent and been able to bring additional bookings and complementary to the management company does. And other owners say to me, I don't want anything to do with it. I just want to, pick up the phone and tell them I'm staying here for 2 weeks in August. And a couple of weeks in January, black those dates out, and the rest of the time, do whatever you want to do. And I'm happy, breaking even or making a little bit of money. So until I understand the X factor, and the X factor is the owner, then it's impossible for me to answer, what a pro forma might look like.
Excellent. Yeah, there's so much there. And thank you for sharing that. And the the value in the social network that you already established, right? If you get a rental and you own it and you're going there and you're sharing it and you're sharing your experience, you could just put that out to the folks that you own now, and they're probably going to want to experience that too. And what better way to rent from a first person they trust, right? And know who owns it. And so it's a win-win there. And then also just making sure that you're catching on all the nuances for how to manage and properly turn units or rent out the units on the different sites and different things like that. What any thoughts on on the best way to set up a system? Because a lot of this is, if it's short-term rentals, it's a lot. Seems like it'd be kind of daunting, right, versus traditional rental. But if you have good systems in place, then you can hopefully expedite a lot of this. So what's the best system, maybe secret that you use to get everything as smooth as possible for your clients?
So it boils down to historical. You're dealing with Orlando. Orlando is the family destination capital of the planet. 75 million plus people came here last year, and they're looking for a place to stay. So there's a lot of things that come from that's your gas station, and that's the revenue that's coming in. That's billions of dollars in revenue that are coming here. The hotels just can't handle that capacity. So the 25,000 plus vacation homes fill in that void. So the answer to your question specifically from that information is that we have a lot of experience in doing it. We've been doing it for a lot of time with a lot of properties over a vast range of homes. We have, $150,000 condos, and we have $10 million Grando homes that rent for $20,000 a week. So anything within that range, we have the capacity to oversee and manage and handle. So the beautiful thing about it is its own little industry. There's nowhere in the world like Orlando where all these different businesses, specialists in all those different fields. And to answer your question about someone coming in and buying a property here and how do they know what to do? Well, that's where a vacation home specialist comes in. And I'm going to give my age away here, my Rolodex has all of those people in it, the best in class that I've worked with over 10 years. And by tailoring a program to fit their specific needs, and again, it goes back to our kind of earlier decision of not just the investment side, but the personal side. And one of the strangest things, and probably the things that surprised me most about this industry, is that money wasn't the number one factor for probably the majority of our clients. The number one factor for the majority of our clients is, I want a villa in Florida. I want to be able to use it whenever I want. I don't mind actually if it costs me a little bit to run it every year. I just don't want to hold that bag of all the costs, the association and the fees and the taxes and all that goes with it. And if I can have a nice handful of, 18 or 20 good weeks of rental money a year that are the high, because Orlando's seasonal. And you have the higher rates during the holiday periods and the peak season, and you have the lower rates. And we usually say 22 weeks is a nice fundamental good value behind number rental numbers, and then everything after that it will start to drop off a little bit. Most owners are actually quite content and happy with those 22, 24 weeks a year of good numbers. And if they have to throw in a few dollars here and there, they get the use of it, as you alluded to earlier on. There's an amazing amount of people who actually back it into a business. They'll do it for like President's Club. You get the keys to our Florida villa for a week, or it's a client and you want to, cut a nice contract and, hey, I've got a villa in Florida. You want to take the family down there. That really helps get business done on the golf course when you have a place, because everybody's got kids and everybody likes to take their kids to Disney. Mickey Mouse doesn't travel. He doesn't go to see you. So it doesn't matter whether you're a rock star or you're Joe Blow, you're coming to Disney one way or another, and maybe several times over the next 10 years. So there's a lot of benefits, not only just in owning the property and a real estate investment. On the personal side, there's a whole world of things that can open up in owning a nice vacation home in Orlando. And you alluded to some of that, the tax breaks, the travel twice a year, you get tax on that, mortgage breaks. And I'm sure I don't need to preach that to the choir. The whole investment side of it is, of course, your specialty, but it works just as well in vacation homes.
Absolutely. Well, very well said. So much content there. Thank you for sharing that. I want to touch briefly on COVID-19 and how it's maybe changed the short-term rental business in Orlando. Go.
Amazing. My wife and I sat on the sofa in March and we said we can put our feet up. I don't think we're going to be doing anything this year, and we have had our busiest year ever. It blew me away. And what we found was the high density population areas wanted to get away from the high density population areas. If they're going to be stuck in a house, they wanted to be stuck in a house with a pool, with a games room, and the sunshine. And we had an incredible amount, and all the brokerages did. The inventory has been decimated. We had New York, Boston, New Jersey, Chicago, all the big density areas. And of course, the prices up there are so high. The Toronto, for example, where it's one of our biggest clientele base, is actually based in Ontario. And they're buying 6 and 7 bedroom, fully furnished luxury homes with pools from us. They couldn't buy a 2-bedroom condo in Toronto for it. And it's a quick one flight from Toronto down here. So our market, as far as COVID is concerned, has been really robust. A lot of people actually moved their kids down. I had to close properties quickly so they could actually get their kids into the schools in Florida, crazy as that may be. Touching on how we deal with it, we have, and we've been doing this all along, so it hasn't changed for us. We've kind of beefed it up a little bit, but we now have our video tours and our virtual tours where we will actually go out to those properties and virtually tour them. I just did 3 yesterday actually for a client. And then I load them up. You can take a look at them on my YouTube channel. There's 3 beautiful 8-bedroom houses in a lovely location called Story Lake. If you wanted to go and see a walkthrough and a property video, you can go there and check those out. They're cool. I just walk through and chat and talk about it as I'm walking through. Or we can do it directly with a Zoom, and they can be beside us and they can point stuff out. So we can do everything remotely. You don't ever have to be here to buy. You don't have to be here to sell. And in fact, I had a client once from the UK who purchased the property from me. We had it run for a year in a program, sold the property, and she never stepped foot in it. As amazing as that would be.
That's incredible. There's so much there, Jerry. It's like a whole new world for brokers and for owners. And you just have to get with someone who's a specialist like Jerry, who has that Rolodex, who have what I call that dream team Rolodex, right? Who has vetted the business professionals, who's vetted the property management, the lenders and everyone else. And then, it makes sense, because Florida's a beautiful place to be in, right? And there's sunshine, right? And it's spread out and there's beaches and, it makes sense that businesses actually uptick because people, if they're going to be stuck in a house, might as well be stuck in a house in Florida and vacationing for a while to get away from all of the dense cold populated areas. That being said, Jerry, are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes.
All right. So knowing what you know, yeah, knowing what you know now, if you could go back to your 25-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget that you would make sure to tell yourself?
Oh, not drink so much.
What's your drink of choice, Jerry?
I'm
What do
Scottish.
you like from Scotland?
Ironically, bourbon. No, I don't drink that much. If I go back to myself, 25, I would probably say get smarter, invest quicker. I think when you're that young, you tend to just spend your money on the frivolous stuff. I think it would be smart knowing that now. But you're young, you're going to do that, right?
But it's still, if you had the chance, yeah, that would be the one. That's a good answer. I like
Yep.
that. Best real estate brokerage decision you ever made?
Best real estate broker's decision I ever made. I would say becoming a broker and having my wife join the company. She was a high level professional, and I said to her one day, "I need you here," and she came on board, and she has been a change. She made the Jerry Barker Group what the Jerry Barker Group is, and that was the biggest thing that we did.
Love it. Worst real estate brokerage decision you ever made?
Oh, I don't know if I made a bad one. I've made some that probably I could have made better, but there's nothing that jumps out, to be quite honest, that is a bad decision. I think any time that I lose a client because for whatever reason, I didn't get them what they wanted or what have you, I always feel bad about that because, sometimes one of the biggest difficulties I think that we find in communication, especially when you're dealing with emails, if you're not directly communicating, things can get lost in translation. People take things that you write down, or maybe you're at it, they feel as though there's something. And I would say if there was one thing I would like to do, if I could go back and do it all again, I would try as much as possible be one-on-one with somebody, because I think when you're not as personal today, it's all texts and emails, and I think we'll lose the personality of who we are and what we're trying to achieve. And this is what it is, the connection. When somebody trusts you and you can say to them, "I'm going to take care of this for you and I'm going to make sure this is done properly," it doesn't come across the same in an email. And I think if I was going to go back and do it all over again, I would try more and more to be one-on-one with people more often.
Very well said. Now we have Zoom, we have good internet connections, and I highly encourage any real estate professionals out there to get on video as much as you can. It includes YouTube channels, it includes podcasts like Jerry. This is Jerry's first podcast, by the way. He has so much knowledge with us, and so I applaud Jerry for jumping on. Best negotiating strategy for your real estate brokerage and when you're representing your clients?
Fundamentally, in terms of the price, when I talk to clients, I tell them all the same thing. I can't make the seller go lower any more than I can make you go higher. I think you can put together a program that says what a property is and what its value is. But as far as negotiating is concerned, especially in the vacation homes are a little different from commercial or residential, because generally there are already entities that are a business that are generating money. So it's a lot harder to have someone drop their price if it's in a program that's generating money and it's going to continue to do that. So you have a lot less leverage from that aspect of it. So I would probably say, as far as that was concerned, is just knowing the market, knowing the prices, and at the end of the day, you'll pay what you're going to pay. I think it's very difficult in the vacation home market. It's not like somebody's sitting in two houses and they've got a mortgage in one and it's costing them money every month. The vacation home's the opposite. It's actually generating you money every month. So just knowing the market, seeing where the soft spots are, being able to pick out the properties and tell somebody, this is actually a good value property. We can go in and maybe get a little bit off. But at the end of the day, the secret is not just in the price point, but it's how you turn it round about on the other side and make it a better investment in terms of returns. And that's all those things we talked about: educating the clients, understanding what makes a good vacation home, how to market it properly, photograph it, furniture, yada, yada. There's 1,000 things you can go into there. That's where the smart investment is. And that's the part that you really want to try and beef up.
Beautiful. Well said. Last question here. How do you stay centered, Jerry, in your values and encouraged to reach for new massive goals, given your success. And by the way, mention your book here too. What's your book and where people can find you? And after all of that success, how do you stay centered in your values and also encouraged to reach for new goals?
That's a great question. I've always been a pretty settled individual. I've been very fortunate in life, I've been fortunate to end up in a place. I live in a beautiful place. I have a great family, a great life, I have a great business. And my goal was never to be a multi-billionaire. That was never the drive. I think the drive was always to be happy and enjoy my life. And enjoyment comes from one of the things that I get to do on a very regular basis. One of the happiest things that I get to do is hand the keys over to a new vacation homeowner whose lifetime ambition has been to own a villa in Florida. And I think probably that of all things gives me the most pride and the most enjoyment, because it's usually families or middle-aged younger families who can afford it, and they've got young kids 5 through 15, and they're going to be here for 10 years, and it's been something they've always wanted to do all their life. And when I go visit them in their new vacation home and see the kids and see the families, there is no feeling like that in the world, because you've really changed their life. You've ticked the bucket list and you've given them something that they're going to personally enjoy for a long, long time to go. My website's jerrybarker.com, really easy to find. You can call me anytime you like if you want to chat a little bit more about any of it. My direct number is 407-286-8169. My book, The Orlando Vacation Home Buyer's Guide, is available free on our website. It's www.jerrybarker.com/guide. You just fill in your information and actually sends it soft copy to you. I don't have a hard copy right next to me right now. Unfortunately, I probably should have, and I can waggle the book in front of you right now, but you're welcome to have a hard copy. I do mail them out if somebody wants them, and all the information's there. So whether you decide you want to buy a vacation home in Orlando and you decide to use my brokerage or not, make sure you take advantage of my book. My website is absolutely stuffed with information. It's just not your regular website with picture properties. There's a ton of all the questions you're going to ask, you'll find on my website. It's all the agents use it. I don't know many agents I've met in the parties. They go, "Jerry, I use your website all the time for information." I'm like, awesome. So yeah, please do. If you have any interest in a vacation home in Orlando, visit the site, get a copy of the book and learn a little bit more about it. It's a great investment, but it's also an excellent lifestyle investment.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well, Jerry, I want to thank you for being on the show, sharing a bit of your story, inspiration, and some secrets with us. We're all better real estate professionals for it. And I want to encourage you to keep using the gifts of being direct and being straightforward and living with integrity and helping people create and preserve more wealth with their real estate purchases, and especially in vacation rentals in Orlando. And to me, if you're going to do anything in Orlando for vacation rentals, there's only really one choice, and it's Jerry Barker. And with that, I want to thank our listeners for listening to another episode of the Expert Commercial Real Estate Secrets Podcast. As always, we believe most commercial real estate brokers and also luxury realtors, they struggle with clarifying their passive income options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven brokerage strategy such as the EXP commercial model and purchasing investment real estate, perhaps even short-term rentals with Jerry, is the best way for you to grow your wealth. And if you want to hear more and see how the EXP commercial model is hands down the best way to grow your real estate business, go to expertcresecrets.com. That's expertcresecrets.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe. We so appreciate all